So here we are, our Tarot Tuesday live on the Facebook group, and Gary's joining me today. So this is always fun when Gary's here. Gary's the Director of Professional Development, and you know him as that tarot guy. Hey, your pictures are back, I see.
Yeah, my pictures are back. I made sure that I put them back up. It's sort of weird. There's like the tarot side of me and there's the professional side of me, right? The corporate side of me. So when I'm doing my corporate job, I got to jump on meetings all day. And last time I was in a sales presentation, it was going really well. And all of a sudden, the guy who I was pitching to went, "What's in the background?"
Mm-hmm.
And I went, "Oh, no."
Yeah.
Because now I had to explain that they were tarot cards and this is a very button-up hospital that I'm pitching to. And I was like, okay. So now I take them down during the day. And when I'm doing radio shows for tarot, or I'm meeting with clients, or I'm recording a podcast, I put them back up.
Well, you could probably get away with just going, oh, it's old art from 1909 that I dislike.
That would work too, yes.
Because it's the truth, you know. It's the truth. Wow. So for those that are new to the live, basically we try to do this every Tuesday, and I don't know. I'm toying with the idea, Gary, doing some impromptu lives where I just like pop on a Thursday or something, or some like, I don't know, Sunday night, you know, some weird time, 3 o'clock in the morning.
I really think that would be a great idea, because you never know when people are going to be there. And it's almost like a hit and run kind of thing. Hey, folks, catch us where you can. We're just popping up.
Well, we got almost 7,000 members on the Facebook group from all over the entire world. So they're in every time zone imaginable, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm toying around with that, but we try to do a regularly scheduled one so that folks know in the group, hey, if I have a question, I know I can get it answered on the live. And even after the live, I mean, you can still comment on the live post on the group. You can ask a question in there, or it's even better just to email us or message us through either the Facebook Messenger, or even better is the website. So you go over, and it's free to join the website, thetarotguild.com. And oh, I don't have my URL up here, Gary.
I think it's www.thetarotguild.com. You'll have to forgive me.
There you go. I popped it on.
There we go. I'm bouncing back and forth between the
right
Facebook
here
page to there's the link.
thetarotguild.com. It's free to join the website. It's actually a social networking website platform. It's more than just a website. I'm not explaining this well, but it's a social media platform, just like anything else out there. You know, the big ones like Facebook, such. We have all the same features. So, you know, you can friend each other, you can do private messaging, we have a live chat room, we have groups and forums, and, you know, all the stuff you get on Facebook, only it's all tarot all the time, and it's free to join. None of the negative stuff you get on social media, and the constant barrage of ads.
And just to let people know, I've been a member of the Tarot Guild on and off for 7-8 years now. And I've met so many people through that website who have turned into my friends, who have turned into colleagues for me in the business world, that we help each other out. It's really, really a great site. And the fact that you're allowing people to use it and to join it free, and just to make those connections where they can learn about how to read tarot, they can learn about how to set up a business, or they can just find people with the same belief system in them and just have great conversations, is wonderful.
It's great when you meet like-minded people. Mary Brown, our vice president, she joined pretty early on, a decade or so ago. And that was her experience. Was she came on, she just started meeting people, and having conversations, things she would never be able to do with like her circle of friends, or, this was before social media was even getting big at the time. But if you go on the website, the top of any page, I think, I'm trying to remember now, even on the pads, or if you're on a phone or on a laptop, it's all at the top of the page. You'll see it, sign up, sign in. Just click sign up, and you could sign up with an email address and a password, but you can use your social media too. So we've got, I think on there, you can use your LinkedIn, your Google, Twitter, Facebook, all of those to sign up. And you can put in whatever profile image you want. And it just takes a couple of seconds to sign up. And then once you're signed up and, signed into the site, then you can message us directly. So my page is Dax. They're all our first names. So dax.thetarotguild.com. And you'll see a big blue message me button right at the top. Just click that. It'll open up the messaging thing, pre-populate it with me in there, and you just type in your message and send it. And Gary is gary.thetarotguild.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can message Gary right there. There's a look for the message button.
And the one thing that I love about that site is that you do give people their own website, right? Their own domain that they can use. It's very easy to remember. And the fact that the site makes it really easy to trick it out the way you want it. So you can turn it into a personal tarot page if you just wanted to express yourself with tarot, or if you want to use it as the central hub for your business to generate readings, you can do that as well and take payments from that right on that page. It makes it really, really easy for people to do.
Yes. It's fully customizable. So in addition to your profile image that you pop in there, you can do a whole cover image, create a whole thing. And then there's a section that says edit text. And when you hit the edit, it opens up a full editing thing. So you can go in there and you can put in your bio, and it's fully HTML. So I mean, you can put in pictures, you can put in buy buttons, or just links to your PayPal or Square account or whatever you use, or just have them contact you. You can put in contact links. I always prefer to get people to message me through the website because I get those right away. It sends out an email blast that, hey, you got a message on the Tarot Guild site, and I just pop over there. But if you prefer people to message you through your Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or Messenger or something like that, you can always put those links on there. Fully customizable. It's really nice. It's like a free web page on the web, that you don't have to pay anything for. So it's pretty awesome. Yes, we do have a premium membership. It's $1 a month. So again, no brainer. It's almost free. And we charge $12 for that, so it comes out to $1 a month, $12 a year. And for that, in addition to the free page, you get an email address. Maybe you want a professional sounding email address, your name at thetarotguild.com. I can set that up for you. Maybe you want a shorter URL like Gary and I have. Those URLs are the premium member URLs. You still have your own separate URL on the website. So it's thetarotguild.com/members/your name. But if you don't want all those slashes, we can set one up, mary.thetarotguild.com. But they're first come, first serve. Mary already has that one. So if your name's Mary, you're going to have to use something else. maryjane.thetarotguild.com, or whatever your middle name is, or last name, or however you want to set it up. It's fully custom. Whatever you want us to do, we'll set it up for you. And it's like $1. But you don't get just that. You also get all of our workshops and live Q&As where you can ask all your questions, get all your questions answered and everything as well. Awesome resource.
Yep.
So and by the way, I just want to mention, because we got going off on a tangent here, Gary, and I forgot to tell everybody that that's what these lives are for here on the Facebook group. If you got questions like, how does this work? How does the guild work? Maybe you have questions about professional tarot reader certification, or Gary actually did something on this before, the best ways to learn tarot.
Yeah.
And maybe you have questions about my course, Tarot by the Numbers, or numerology, or you have general questions about tarot, or a favorite deck, or something you want to talk about. I mean, we're wide open here on the live. Anything you want to chat about, we're here. I see Sharona's in there. What's going on with you, Sharona? Let us know in the comments. Yeah, just use the comments like a chat room and type stuff in there. We got so many great workshops coming up. We just had a few, and I just wanted to mention to everybody, especially if I don't know how you could possibly miss the promotions, because I put them literally everywhere, from LinkedIn to Instagram, all our Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts, 25 other spiritual Facebook groups, Gary, up to 100,000 per, and all over the Tarot Guild website, thetarotguild.com. I don't know how you can miss it, but if you did, I just want to let you guys know, if you're already a premium member, you already have access to these workshops. The Learn Them On for tarot readers is available now from Brenda Elizabeth. I did one with Mary Brown on ethics for professional tarot readers. That's available. Our first monthly Q&A from February, that one's available. You were there on that one, Gary.
Yes, sir.
And then Corby just had her sorting hat spread workshop.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. It's available. Yep. And then setting the stage, how to prepare so you can give a great reading every time. Mary Brown just did that this Sunday, and it's in the can. It's available on the premium members group. And anywhere on the website, even the public areas where you see the lists, you'll see the banner that has like the little classroom with the little blue people and the red teacher, and it says live Zoom workshops and Q&As. You click on that and go in there, you'll see the whole list of the upcoming ones, but it also has the past ones. Those are all linked, folks. So if you click on them, if you're a premium member, it'll take you right into the premium members group where it is, and you can just watch. It's ready to go. But we have some great ones coming up. The next thing we're doing is Sunday, March 6th. We have our live monthly Q&A session. It's the first Sunday of every month. That way you can mark it in your calendar. And it's the Tarot Guild staff. So I'm there, and whoever can show up, Sharona shows up usually, and Gary, and whoever can make it, Mary, Corby. Who am I forgetting? Oh, Pamela Steele. Yeah, Pamela Steele joined.
Yep.
Yes, the fabulous deck creator and tarot teacher extraordinaire, Pamela Steele. You probably, if you've gone to the Reader Studio, you've met Pamela. She's on our staff now. She's an advisor to the guild.
Cool.
And yeah, so we all try to show up, and it's the same thing as what we're doing right now. The difference is it's private. It's private for our premium members only on the private group. We do it via a Zoom meeting. We do everything through Zoom now, except for our radio shows through Blog Talk, but everything else is Zoom, Gary. Zoom. We're zooming along this year. And, any questions you have, maybe you have, here's a good example, Gary, why you might not want to ask here, but you might want to ask in the private live Q&A for the premium members. You might have an issue with your business, for instance, and you need some advice or something, and you don't want it out there public. I mean, not that it's public. Our Facebook group is private now. We switched that over. So, I mean, you have to apply to actually join the Facebook group now, but there are 7,000 people. So, if you want a little bit more privacy and you want to ask your question, that's
well, it's also it's also a wonderful resource, as you just said. If you're having any challenges with your business, either it's stalled and you want to take it to the next level, or you're thinking about starting one, if you put it in the general Facebook group, well, as you said, there are 7,000 people there. You don't know what their experience is. You don't know what their education is. But by God, everybody has an opinion and they're going to tell you what to do. It may
Yeah.
not be the best advice. When you
Right.
come to our monthly staff-led question and answers, everybody on the staff of the Tarot Guild, regardless of their position, has been reading tarot for, I would say, greater than 20 or 30 years, and who has run their own tarot business for maybe 10 years or longer. We have the experience, right? And like I like to say, we share our wisdom, and wisdom is simply another word for we made the mistakes so you don't have to.
Yeah, I would like to
So-
add that up sometime, because we could start billing it that way. 200 years of tarot experience combined.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful resource that if you do have questions on how to start a tarot business, how to take it to the next level, how to find clients, how to charge properly, which are questions I hear all the time with my work, right? This is a great place where you can ask them, and you're not going to be made fun of, number one. You know that the advice you're going to get is tried and true and trusted, because everybody on the staff is a professional. They have or had a tarot business professionally. So they've experienced everything you are going through now. And the brain trust is there to tap into. It's almost like your own private mastermind for $12 a year.
Right.
That's a fantastic value.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention with the lives is, if you can't make it live to these lives, the recording is always going to be there. And if you can't make it to the live Q&A, the recording is going to be on the private premium members group for you to go through. And why you might want to do that is because people are going to ask questions that you probably have. And they're going to also ask questions or comment or talk about topics that you didn't even think of, and you might get a great idea from. So even if you can't make it live to the Q&As, it's worth it to go in the group and sit there for an hour and listen to it, watch it, maybe while you're doing something else, multitask, and there's going to be gems, little wisdom and so forth. Same thing with the workshops. The workshops are all recorded. You can go back, you can watch them over and over again if you want as well. We got a lot of great stuff coming up. I got to tell you about some of these others. I did want to mention before I forget, Gary, because you just booked a workshop that you're going to do Sunday, April 24th, 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm reading it here. How tarot readers can make. Oh, I think I'm missing an A in there.
Yeah, it's probably a typo.
Make a difference in the world.
The workshop that I'll be giving on April 24th is entitled "How Tarot Readers Can Make a Difference in the World and Make Money Doing It." Right?
What does that mean? Yeah, fill us in.
And in this workshop, I'm going to share with I think I've been reading tarot professionally since 2014, so about 8 years of reading tarot professionally. I also have had a online consulting business helping people build their tribes and grow their business through that same time. And I'm going to share with you my top secrets on how to set yourself up for success for an online tarot business. So we're going to be sharing secrets on how to find your ideal customer, because there's ain't nothing worse than working with someone you don't like, right? There's nothing worse than finding the person that you just booked as a client is not really the person you want to work with. So I'm going to share the secrets with you that'll ensure that you get the right person that you want to work with, that you have the business that you want to run. And this will also make it easier for you. Instead of just finding your clients and throwing stuff against the wall, you'll be able to attract them to you. So that's just one of the secrets. I'm also going to show you how to spread your message out there. Get the message out in the world so you could be the instrument of change. And through delivering your message, build your tribe and your community of people who will follow you. Got a lot of great stuff, a lot of great secrets that I'm going to be sharing on this workshop in April. And I just can't wait to share it with our premium members. I really can't. It's going to knock their socks off. It's going to give them everything they need to start their successful online tarot business. And of course, if you don't want to read online, there are some few gems in there that I'm going to share that can work equally as well offline as well in real life.
That sounds great. I knew where I was going with that now. What I was saying, because you said about giving back, and it's like that's totally it. And I've had these conversations with Mary Brown and Sharona and other, other members and so forth, about that whole thing. All you have to do is look out there online right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see what people are charging for things.
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm getting at. I mean, you want to get this kind of information, you want to take a course, just a simple course on tarot is going to cost you $800
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of places. I mean, not everywhere, but I'm just saying that. And I understand where those folks are coming from. I completely understand. They have to make a living. They have to make, they're running a business. And that's what they teach in business circles. You go for the high ticket item. You create something that has a lot of value. And you put a big price tag on it. Because your time and expertise is worth a lot. But then not everybody can afford that, and since the beginning of the guild, it's always been about bringing great resources and information to our members at a phenomenal value.
Well, I just want to jump in there for a moment, because this is also one of the mistakes I see people starting and people doing when they start their online business and they've been reading tarot for a while and they decide to set their shingles out, is they don't spend enough time defining who they want their clients to be. So one of two things ends up happening. Either you start undercharging yourself because you're charging $5 or $10 for a reading, and there's no way that you'll be able to maintain that. From a personal standpoint, you'll be reading 24/7 just to make a living, or they price themselves so high that no one could afford their services. And the one thing I know Dax wants to do with the guild and all these resources that he's making available is making sure that our members who want to become professional readers, or maybe they are professional readers, but they're having a difficult time gaining traction, set them up for success. And you need to know who you want to work with. And part of that is knowing, can they afford your service? It's very simple, right? Because this way you know how to charge. As Dax said, there are courses out there on tarot that's $800 a pop. Well, if I'm just starting to learn how to read tarot and I just picked up my first deck, there's no way I could afford $800. So the information may be fantastic, but no one's going to be able to buy it. So your information is not going to be able to get out in the world, and you will not make that difference. That's for me what the guild is all about. Allowing people to do what they love, share it with the world, and giving them the resources to do it.
Me too. But I wanted to say, piggyback on that and say, well, I kind of want to ask you about the pricing thing
Mm-hmm.
because it comes up all the time. And I've written articles on that. You can even search on the Tarot Guild site under articles. You know, you're going to find articles that have been written about this topic because for 2 decades now, I've thought that tarot readers are way underpricing themselves. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
you have the Sylvia Browns of the world, the the well-known psychics, and they're charging $400, $1,000 for a session. Yeah, I understand that. Most people can't afford that. But then you've got the $25 readings, the $40 readings, and your time is worth more than that. If you've developed a skill or a set of skills, maybe you're also a certified life coach, like we always suggest that our
Mm-hmm.
members become a certified life coach. Maybe you have other skills too, and you're spending 40 minutes or an hour with a client. From my point of view, that's worth at least what any other therapist, hypnotherapist, psychotherapist in your area is charging. And that should be like your base starting point.
Yes. My belief on pricing, and I'll preface this by telling a little story of what happened in one of the tarot groups that I'm in on Facebook. And I I joined a lot of the newbie tarot groups because I enjoy giving back. I enjoy teaching people who are just starting their tarot journey. And this one member just got the opportunity to set up a booth at a psychic fair. And she was like, "What should I charge? Is $5 too much?" And I literally wanted to climb through the screen and throttle this person.
Right.
Okay. There is this belief in the tarot community that is really doing all of us a disservice, that you cannot charge for your spiritual gifts. Okay. And that is the one belief that really needs to be broken.
Heard that a lot.
If you have spent the time and the investment in yourself, and you have the experience and the chops, and by when I say you have the experience, I don't mean that you've just been reading tarot for 6 months, or that you picked up a deck and you're still reading from the little white book. Okay. When you're ready to go professional and read professionally for other people, and that means accepting money, then you have to know the deck inside and out. You have to know your skills inside and out. You cannot reference anything. Okay. You cannot go back to the little white book. But once you're there and you have those, then look at what the market is charging. Look at the area you're in and price yourself accordingly. Now, my prices, my personal prices, when for just tarot readings, this is not my coaching, this is not my consulting, this is just for a tarot read. Okay. I charge $65 for 30 minutes and I charge $100 for an hour. And I do most of it nowadays virtually through a Zoom session. And that is, for me, fair. The tarot readers that I use, when I need advice, there are one or two tarot readers that I will always go to. Okay. And they charge more than I do. But they know their worth because they know their experience. So the number one thing you got to do is look at the area that you're in and see what's comparable. And I think also the one thing that holds people back from charging their worth is really an insecurity. They're not certain in themselves. So they go, well, let me charge 20 bucks. When I first started reading tarot professionally, it was at this metaphysical gift store in a college town in upstate New York. And it was, I think, priced out by like 10 minutes at a shot for the store. And I don't remember if it was like 20 bucks or 25 bucks for the 10 minutes.
Right.
And this was at a store, right? That was either walk-ins or they would book to see me. So you're thinking about that. And if you're going to give your time, and a tarot reader at a store that books by the 10 minutes is going to be, a half hour will be $75 if you want to translate this. And this was a college town, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you think about fairs, I have never been to a psychic fair where tarot readers were there and they weren't charging at least $1 a minute or $2 a minute and the way they price it out, right? So don't be afraid to charge, and don't be afraid if you know your stuff. And I have to preface that you can't just have bought your first tarot deck, and you can't just have bought a book off of Amazon, Tarot by the Numbers, or sorry, Dax, that's the name of your course. I didn't mean that. You know, Tarot Reading Made Easy or Idiot's Guide to Tarot. And you
Right.
just read that book and you're like, okay, now let me put my shingle out. No, you'll be doing a disservice to yourself. You'll be doing a disservice to the people you're reading for, and you'll be doing a disservice to the community at large. Okay. But once you are certain in your information, in your knowledge, and you've given a lot of readings and enough readings for minimal money or just as an energy exchange, then dive in and don't be afraid to charge 50 bucks for 30 minutes, because that's the going rate out there.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when I first started, one of my mentors, and I was charging at the time $25 a reading because I had the same problems, right? Even though I had been studying tarot for 13 years at this time, I had the same, we don't give away for spiritual gifts. I'm not worth it. Tarot is a fringe thing, blah, 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 blah. And my mentor looked at me and said, raise your prices. And I went, yeah, but won't I lose the people that I'm reading for now? And she went, yes, and you'll get new ones who could pay your prices. And she was absolutely right.
Well, let me say that when I started out, the average was $1 a minute. So for 60 minutes, an hour was 60 bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's double that.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, you know, it depends on, you know, what level that you've gotten up to. And a lot of people tell me that I'm underpriced myself, you know. But I stick in that area, you know. I think I charge less the longer things go out. I think I'm at $3 now, because it honestly, it should be $3. If you think about it, everything doubles in value, or not value, but inflation, you know, everything doubles every 12 years, they say, ish. So if you go back 12 years, a gallon of milk was half the cost it is now. Go back 12 more years, you know, it's 35 cents, yeah. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. So really now, a few decades later, we should be at $3.
And yeah, it's also important to know who you want as your clients. And this brings me back to my workshop, April 24th, 4 p.m. Be there, folks. Because if your target audience are college kids, let's just say you enjoy that energy, you enjoy that environment. Well, a college kid is not going to be able to pay $100. But if you want to be known as the tarot reader to the stars, if you want to read tarot for business executives, and believe me, folks, there is a market there. Okay. Well, someone who's a CEO of a company can afford a lot more than $25.
Yes.
Which is why it's important to know who you're targeting.
Who's your client? You know,
who's your client? Exactly.
if you sit down and do a reading for somebody and they're a businessman and they're asking questions about their business, or a businesswoman, I don't want to get, in trouble. Or business they, we have to add that into now. And through the process that you've just done with your client, they increase their gross profit 100 grand. Somebody that's a business owner brings in a consultant, the consultant's going to charge 10 grand.
Mm-hmm. And that's a great way of looking at it. It's not the time you're spending, it's the value you're giving.
The value you're creating.
Right? If I'm going to, let's just move it out of tarot and go into my consulting work for a moment. If I can show you how to build your business and make $100,000 a year, and I can do that in an hour, would that be worth $500 to you? Would it be worth $1,000 to you?
Mm-hmm.
Would it be worth $2,000 to you? Because if you think about it, that would probably be worth $10,000 and maybe more, that I can walk into any company and get that, because it's $10,000 spent for $100,000 they're going to make. So that's another way you can decide how to price yourself, the value that you're giving, not the time that it takes you to teach. And really, in today's world, if you could deliver the same value in less time, that makes you more valuable.
Right. And there's another aspect to that, but first, before I forget, I went on my own page because I couldn't remember my own pricing, and I'm actually wrong. I actually did bring it up some to where it should be more. But as far as, you said, college students can't afford, well, it's the amount of time. Like, I mean, you can pretty much get most of your questions answered in 20 minutes. And I do 20 minutes for $67.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little, I can't do that off the top of my head, but it's a little more than $3 a minute. And then sessions that are longer than 20 minutes, I charge $3 a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So God, I have to get a calculator out to figure this stuff out.
It's about $180 for the hour.
Something like that,
Yeah.
Wait, I typically do, I'm trying to think here. More frequently, what I do is 40 minutes is more average, because I think, when you get to an hour and beyond, you're like, unless you're working on a specific thing, 40 minutes pretty much covers it, and I charge 120 for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, like you said, let's see if I do my little calculation here. So yeah, 180 for an hour. That's more reasonable, because
Mm-hmm.
if you go see a psychotherapist for an hour, they're going to charge $150.
Yeah, and that brings up a great point. The more letters you have after your name, the more what's after the comma, as I say,
Mm-hmm.
the more you can charge. Now, the Tarot Guild is wonderful because it gives you the opportunity to become a certified life coach and a certified NLP practitioner, and all the other abilities that that you have the ability to get through the Tarot Guild. And all that is going to increase your value.
Exactly. Yes. And then there's the thing about niching or niching.
Yes. And believe me, going back to the workshop, there's a whole section dedicated to that. And that goes to knowing who your ideal client is and what kind of business you want to have. What I find is a lot of tarot readers that are out there are basically, they have no clue. They don't know what kind of business they want to have. They don't know who they want to work with. They're just basically a take all comers kind of thing.
Sure.
And that doesn't work.
Let me give you a good example of this outside of tarot. So there's context here where, as a hypnotherapist, for instance, you've got general practitioners You know, you can go in and see them for a fear of flying or snakes or to quit smoking or lose weight. And you'll see pricing all over the place. You know, a lot of times you'll see $75 for a session, which is half of what the average in the industry is, which is 150 a session. But I also know therapists, I have colleagues that charge $2,500 to quit smoking,
Mm-hmm.
and they get it. Why? Because that's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they're sub-niched. For instance, I'll give you an example, Gary. They only work with lawyers
Mm-hmm.
who want to quickly quit smoking on their lunch break in 45 minutes.
Yep. And that's what you need. And you said something very interesting and very important there that I just want to reemphasize. These people who niche down, that specialize in quitting smoking, charging $2,500. Why? Because not only are they niche down, but they're niched down to a pain point that they know is important to people. I mean, think about it. If no one wanted to quit smoking, then charging $2,500 wouldn't get you anything. But we all know, and I say this even as I have my pack of cigarettes next to me, that smoking is bad for your health. And so people have a big, strong pain towards it. And if there's a strong pain towards what someone has, then they are going to pay top dollar for the solution to that pain. And that's
Right.
what we always have to bear in mind. We're not tarot readers. Okay. Tarot is the vehicle we are using to deliver the guidance. What we are and what we're offering are solutions to problems.
Or we should be. Maybe a lot of us aren't, because if you think about it, a lot of people are general practitioners. They come into tarot. That's what they want to do. They want to just do readings for people. And that means any old question that comes up. And that's the definition of a general practitioner. You know, they're
Well,
not.
I would push
Yeah.
back on that, because even in a general practitioner where you get and anybody who's read professionally for maybe 5 minutes knows where I'm going here, right? When am I going to meet my soulmate? What
Mhm.
does he think of me? Is he really seeing her? Right. And we've all seen that question. I mean, my eyes roll to the back of my head when I get to that question. But even with that question, we're providing a solution to them because we're giving them guidance. Even in the reading, if the reading is, well, no, he has no feelings for you.
Mhm.
Okay, we've just solved their problem. They no longer have to worry about whether they should go after that person. So even on a general level, you're still providing the solution.
Right, right. And see, trying to organize my thoughts. There's like, I got so much on this. I got so much on that. We have to do a whole workshop on this, how to price your services.
Duly noted.
And yeah, I think Sharona's already writing this down, you know, and we've covered this topic before. I mean, we've done radio shows on it. We've done articles like I just told you, I wrote this whole article because it was brought up in the Facebook group. And I said, this is a great question. I think it was Vita. I'm not 100% sure, but it might have been Tara Vita asked it. And I just did a whole article because it was more than I could put in a comment
Mm-hmm.
on the Facebook group. But I think even though we've already covered the topic, you know, many times, I think that, you know, we need to look at doing another workshop on this where it's for the premium members. It's in a private Zoom meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and we can get down to the nitty gritty, and people can, you know, really ask the specifics involved, you know, of it. Trying to remember now. You were bringing up so many good things, and I was like, God, I should be writing this down so I remember what to hit. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's just so much on this.
Well, this is an important topic that really needs to be explored from all angles.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, all tarot readers, my belief anyway, in their heart want to heal the world. They want to help the world. Now, the reasons they want to do that can be numerous, and really, it doesn't matter why you want to do it. The fact remains that you want to do it. You want to contribute. But the truth of the matter is, even if you don't have the desire to be a millionaire or a billionaire, you still have to put a roof over your head. You still have to pay your bills. You still have to put food in the fridge. There are things that we have to do to live. So knowing how to price yourself accordingly so you can make your monthly nut and do what you love is great.
Right.
So you don't have to have that 9 to 5 job all the time, right? If you can make a living comfortably on and do what you love, whether that's reading tarot or writing books or Reiki or palm reading or whatever it is, that's the best of both worlds.
Well, I just remembered one of the points I wanted to hit was not just that angle, which is really the main thing, but there's other aspects to it that people don't think about. For one thing is, if I'm charging 10 or 20 bucks for a reading, it's entertainment at that point. The client is not going to take anything you say seriously.
Yep.
Now, if they're paying $120 for 40 minutes, they're going to get squeeze everything out of that session that they can, and they're going to write it all down and or have you record it, or and they're going to go over it a dozen times, and they're going to implement stuff.
It reminds me of a story Tony Robbins used to tell back in the day when he was first starting out. And he had this really convoluted way of screening clients. Not only was his pricing ridiculously high, but he forced you to jump through so many hoops. And he did that for 2 reasons. One was to make sure you were serious, because if you were serious about it and you were willing to pay his prices and you were willing to jump through the hoops, you were going to have a better chance of getting the results that you wanted. And number 2, it was going to make sure that the time was valuable to you and that, as you said, squoze everything out of it. So the higher that you price yourself, the more perceived value there is. And therefore, the more serious you're going to be taken. And to put it into a different context, anybody can get a pair of shoes, right? Pair of shoes, you can go out there to a 5 and dime and you can pick up a pair of sneakers for 10 bucks. Yet, how many people spend $500 on a pair of Air Jordan kicks?
Right.
Right? Ultimately, they're doing the same thing. They're probably made in the same factory in China.
Yeah.
But the difference is the perceived value there.
Perceived value. Yes. And let's go back to that last comment I made, because there's another aspect to it is you're actually doing a disservice to your client. If you're undercharging, and then therefore, like I said, they're not respecting what you're giving them, they're not going to follow through on anything, you're actually hurting your client. Also, in addition to that, you're hurting the industry, because you're bringing down the perceived value of any reading.
And you're also contributing to the image of the sidewalk gypsy. Right? Tarot reading, if you take it this way, and this is the way I look at it, is therapeutic. It's guidance. I've said this since I've started reading. It's not fortune telling, right? Very few people can tell you that on March 24th, you're going to meet a woman in a red dress holding a yellow umbrella on the corner of 34th and Vine, and that's going to be your soulmate. But what you can gain from tarot is the areas you need to work on in yourself to become the person you need to be to attract the person you want to be with. And if you're charging that 10 or 20 bucks, you're really setting yourself up as that sidewalk gypsy, as that store. And there's one right on the corner where I live here. It's a store, and she's got a neon sign flashing with one of those neon palms that's sitting up there and the crystal ball and the whole chintzy deal.
Yeah.
Right. And it says psychic reading. And then she's charging 20, 25 bucks. Right. When you charge low, you are contributing to that stigma of fortune teller, shyster, instead of elevating the position to where it should be, which is counselor, therapist.
Well, one of our taglines for the Tarot Guild is Tarot for the 21st Century. And that's the direction I see tarot going in. More of a life coach. And not everybody wants to do that. You know, a lot of people get into it, they just want a party trick, and then they want to play cards for their friends, and they want to do, you know, fortune telling reading. And that, hey, you know, if that's what you want to do, I can't stop you. you know,
I mean,
you know, it's like, do what you want to do. I'm not dissing you, but I'm telling you, it is affecting the rest of the industry. And I don't think that's what we should be. I don't think we should be lowballing. I don't think that's what we should be striving for. I think we should be striving for higher up. And one of the aspects, I know you brought up, I keep going back to the college town thing and what, you know, what the college students can afford. There's a whole aspect of this we can get into, how much things have changed. People read over Zoom now. It doesn't matter what a therapist charges here, because like you got to figure, you're in New York City, $300 an hour, you know, and here in Tucson, 120, you know, but it doesn't matter where you are.
Yep.
All that matters is your value that you want to put out there, because you're marketing to the globe, really.
Yep.
I mean, through the
one of the things I always say is the one thing that COVID showed us and that the pandemic has showed us is all the jobs they said we couldn't do at home, we could do at home.
Yep.
And that includes coaching and consulting with tarot involved in that. You can jump on a Zoom and deliver a reading through Zoom, or you can deliver a reading through email. So you're no longer constricted to the prices in your area. As you said, if you want to use Zoom to deliver your readings, then you could talk to a guy in New York. You can talk to a guy in Oshkosh B'gosh. So the pricing should be based on your value in that case, not the geographic location. If you're setting up a store, then you have to take the geography into account. Right. Yeah. But in today's world, if you're going to be online, no. Right. And a couple other things that kind of all dovetail into that is that a lot of people, the thing is, well, you know, nobody can afford that. No, there are millions of people that can afford any price structure you want to come up with. You just have to aim your niche and your specific business and your marketing, target it towards those people. Okay, I just want to address, I just looked at the Facebook page and Rini put up a comment that says, therapist and counseling is a regulated title, off limits to our code of ethics here at the Tarot Guild. Yes, I understand that. That's why when I go out there, even though I do have a life coaching certificate, I'm a certified life coach, certified hypnotist, and a certified NLP practitioner, I say I'm a coach. I'm a life coach. The words therapist and counseling were used simply because they are accepted in there and they bring a certain image to mind. And that was the point I was trying to. Right. You weren't saying use those titles. You Correct. Were saying, yeah. You were trying to get across that the way in which we should be working is more Correct. Like a therapist or a counselor. In fact,
honestly, that's what clients are looking for. They're looking for a therapist or client or a counselor that is a going to be less expensive, because even if you're charging the same, okay, so let's say a therapist charges $150 an hour and you charge $150 a session. Most folks that go to see a licensed clinical therapist or counselor, they're going to be seeing them 3 times a week for 10 months. Add that all up, you
Yep.
know, whereas they'll see you, once, and if they need to see you again in a little bit, they will, book another session, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for faster answers, faster solutions to their problems. And I mean, that's why people come to me as a hypnotherapist, because they don't want to spend 10 months or 10 years in therapy.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the stigma of going to see a counselor or a therapist and being in therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It's still there, and
Yep.
they're trying to get rid of that stigma, but it's still there. Whereas it's not as stigmatized to go see your local tarot reader
Mm-hmm. Or even a life coach.
or life coach.
I know plenty of people who are life coaches, and the vehicle they use to deliver their information and their guidance is a tarot deck. Yet they market themselves as a life coach, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you are giving solid advice.
Yes, and the other one I wanted to bring up was, let's see, I'm taking notes here because I cannot keep all this in my head. Location-based pricing. Yeah, I mean, that's out the window. We covered that pretty much. I might want to come back to that because there's a couple other things, but other things about charging what your real value is not only does the client value what they're paying for then and value the advice you're giving them, but it does things for the professional as well, seeing the client. There's a couple of things. Like, one thing is, if you're charging $20, you're going to have to see a lot of clients
Mm-hmm.
to make $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just throwing a ballpark number out there. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying, okay, divide $1,000 by 20. How many clients do you have to see?
That's 500 readings in a month.
That's a lot of readings. And $1,000 is not someone's income. That's like
No.
half a week or a week,
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot more clients. So that's going to run you down. But if you're charging what you're really worth and you can find your sweet spot, then you're going to be able to see a lot less clients and physically, emotionally, and energetically keep yourself grounded and stable. Mary just did her whole workshop on this, on how to prepare before a reading, and she talked about, grounding yourself and all that kind of stuff like that. But I don't care how much preparation you do. If you're seeing, 20 clients a day, you're going to burn out.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another aspect to this. Because you see a lot less clients, and it depends on how many you want to see a day. But that's an exercise I use for some of my students. How much do you need to make? How much do you need to make a month? How many days a week are you going to read? 7, 6, 5? Okay, 5. Okay, take 5, right? And how many weeks there are in the month? 20. Let's say 20. You might have, with the weeks the way they are, come out to like 22 days. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I want to see one a day. Okay, so that's 22. Divide that into the amount you need to make. That's what you minimum have to be charging per client.
Yep.
Very simple math, right? But what it does is it allows you to concentrate on each individual client.
Mm-hmm.
and spend more effort and time on that one. If you're seeing one client a day, then, by the way, you could throw all the rules out the window. Mary just made a post about a comment about how what really drives her nuts is these people that charge per card,
Oof.
which I always thought, I mean, from the very beginning, let's go back 30 years, Gary, $5 per card, or, I mean, I didn't
Can
know
I
anything about being a professional reader. And even I knew that this is a ridiculous way to price what you're doing. None
can
of
I
that.
tell you something? If I was pricing by card, every single reading would be 78 cards.
That's a good way to look at it. That's a good way to look at it.
Right?
But let me finish up on this point, is that you can throw all that out the window. You can throw the Picard thing out the window. You can throw out the timing, X amount per half hour, X amount per 40 minutes, X amount per hour. You have that client.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It may
Mm-hmm.
take, the reading may take 10 minutes. The reading may take 2.5 hours. You're charging the same. If you're charging $300, $500 for a session, and you're only seeing one client a day, you're seeing that client, you're putting all your energy into that person, you can afford then to spend as much time as they need to get what they need out. And guess what? They are going to word of mouth promote you like crazy.
Yep. And let's just look at it from a different angle.
Mhm.
Let's say you do get to the point where, as you said, you can look at one client a day. You book one client a day, you charge $500 for your session, and you decide you want to work 3 days a week. So you're saying 3 clients a day. That's $1,500 a week. Well, that's $4,500 a month. In a lot of areas in the country, you can get by on that. At the very least, that is a really good supplemental income.
Right. Actually, I'm sorry, having trouble with my video here. Actually, I I was as you were about to start saying that, I was doing the calculation, because I wanted to go back to my original one a day, Monday through Friday,
Oh,
or maybe you see like Tuesday
if
through Saturday or something.
yeah, if
And,
you're doing it for 5 days, $500, that's 2,500 a week. You're
right,
making
but
$10,000 a year, a month.
right. But I wanted to back it out the other way, Gary, just as an example. Bear with
Okay.
me.
Okay.
So, okay, let's say, look here in Tucson, Arizona, $4,500 a month is a rich person. I mean, the cost of living here is so low. That's why everybody moves here.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to California, please. No, but serious. You divide that by your 20. So Monday through Friday, one a day, just as an example, that's $225 per client.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not, that's roughly a good amount. That's
Mm-hmm.
and obviously you're probably going to see more clients than that, but $225. They have your undivided attention for an hour or two. You see one a day, you're not going to get burnt out, and
Mm-hmm.
you're making a living wage off.
Mm-hmm.
you know so that example works really well. Now, your example would, I was trying to go back the other way with which we do in life coaching. You start with the goal, you start backing up to be at this point. Where do I need to be a month before that,
Mm-hmm.
6 months before that, you know tomorrow, what do I need to do? You get it all the way down so you can figure out what the next step is. In life coaching, it's the same thing. How much do you need to be making? How many clients do you want to see? Divide that into it. That's what you need to be charging. you
Mm-hmm.
know and be you got to be conservative, but you want to think in terms of, okay, I want to be able to give the most value to a client. I don't want to be seeing 5-10 people a day, so hold it to one or two a day. And you don't want to work 7 days a week, so hold
Mm-hmm.
it to maybe you want to do it 3 days. Maybe you have a muggle job.
Mhm.
Maybe only do it on weekends, whatever. But whatever supplemental income or full-time income you need to make, then you figure out how many clients you want to see and divide it. And it's real simple. That's what you charge,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
But going back the other direction, yeah, what you were saying, that if you're really charging your actual value and you're doing it the opposite direction, you're just like, I'm just booking clients and I'm helping as many people as I possibly can. You're hitting six figures before you know it.
Yeah. And I think what we're saying is really the same thing in different ways, because we're both looking at it, how you can maximize your time and the value you can give to your clients by making sure you're getting what you're worth. And you're absolutely right. You always should start with the end in mind. So the first step, as you said, is how much do you want to make in the month? Okay, in order to make that in the month, how many clients do you want to see, or what do you want to charge? Right? And what's the math there? And then adjust accordingly. Because if I want to make, let's say, I'm just going to throw a number out there, $5,000 a month, and I want to charge $50 a reading. Well, now I'm seeing 100 clients in the month. 100 clients in the month. Let's say I'm only working 5 days a week, 22 days. That's roughly 5 clients a day, completely booked for 1 hour sessions. That's an entire day. That's a full-time job with no time to do anything else.
Right, right.
So
So this,
you can then revisit it and say, okay, well, what happens if I charge $100? And so it's a good way of allowing you to meet your goal
mhm.
and know that it's done. And also, the one thing that happens is when you break it down in the way that you suggest it, it becomes tangible. It's no longer pie in the sky. You could actually sit here and do that, right? Because if you want to take it to the macro level, let's say somebody wanted to make six figures making tarot, which, if you think about it, may sound ridiculous to some people, but six figures in tarot is less than $10,000 a month. So less than $10,000 a month, if you're charging $200 for a reading, you would need to do 50 readings in that month, 22 days in the month. So that's approximately 3 readings a day. That's doable. So another thing by doing your exercise, Dax, it actually gives you the confidence to move forward, because you just showed yourself logically that it can be achieved.
Yeah, what I just did, I'm playing with my calculator again, and I took the 100,000 divided by 12 months, divided by approximately 22 days that you're actually working, and came out with 378.78. Very interesting. It's almost like tarot is winking at us with that 78 there.
78, yep.
And then if I divide that by 2, so you're only seeing 2 clients a day, that's $189. That is
Yep.
so doable.
And we are
Or
talking
see
even
3 clients.
before we were even doing this exercise, we were talking about how standard therapists, standard coaching consultants charge $200, $150, $200. So that's right in line with everything.
Oh, it absolutely is. And Mary's got a great point and an interesting question. She says, do you guys think the fact that so many online therapy platforms, I think she's talking about these apps,
Mm-hmm.
are available now and have become popular, has an impact on how much tarot readers working online should charge? And this actually impacted another aspect of a different business that I was doing not too long ago. And we were basically doing course sales, like my Tarot by the Numbers course, but we had several courses. All of them were a few $100, upwards to $500 each. And we were doing actually quite well. But along came Udemy, and people were putting their courses on there for $100 or $200, and then there'd be always a sale going on, $12. So our $500
Yeah.
courses were now being sold on Udemy for $12. And so it destroyed the industry, and that's happened with a lot of stuff. Look at the lock that cab drivers had, especially in certain metropolitan areas. Let's take New York City.
Mm-hmm.
You had to get the diamond,
Mm-hmm.
not the diamond,
Medallion.
the
It's the
medallion. Yeah.
medallion. Yep.
You had to get the medallion, and they could charge whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they'd get it, but then along comes Uber and Lyft, and these apps, and they've destroyed an industry. In fact, here in Tucson, what they've done is the cab company, and probably in a lot of other areas, the cab companies just created their own apps and put their own
Mm-hmm.
apps on there, and they're charging in the same ballpark now. See, but it's lowered it for everybody now.
Yep.
These therapy apps, is that going to affect readers and what we should be charging?
So here's my thought on that. Okay. In the macro and the global, your first knee-jerk reaction is going to say yes. It's going to, right? Because the more competition there is, the more it's going to theoretically lower it, right? What you need to do is, instead of trying to compete on price, compete on value, compete on what you're offering. Because if you're competing on price, well, that's a race to the bottom. And no one's going to win that race. You're not going to compete with these apps that can charge you $5 or $10 or $20, and you're going to end up giving your services away. So instead, how could you provide more value? What sets you apart from these apps? Now, these apps are wonderful. You can pick up your phone, you can set an appointment, but do you have a personal relationship with the therapist you're going to be talking about? That may be a way.
Some apps might be random, where you get the random therapist.
Exactly.
It's like Uber. You don't know who you're getting.
Yeah, that may be a way to differentiate yourself. Also, these apps, well, what information are they taking from you? And are they selling it to third parties? Right? Because that's how all these apps make their money. So that's a different way of differentiating yourself. So if you look at it, and you can promote yourself on value and find ways of differentiating yourself from the app, your value can actually increase, Mary.
Well, whether you're talking about these apps or what we talked about from the very beginning on, charging what we're worth versus charging way up here versus charging $20, $40 for a reading. It's the difference between a premium service versus a commodity.
Mm-hmm.
When you're an app,
you're a commodity.
You're a commodity. When you're charging $20 or $40, you're a commodity. So, if it doesn't happen that way now, but in the old days, okay, let's say you open your shingle and next door is another tarot reader, they have their shingle, and you do $40, they do $39, you do $35, they do $29. Like you said, it's a race to the bottom.
And a great way to think about what you just said, Dax, without being the commodity, right? Is you can go and you can get a cheeseburger from McDonald's for 89 cents. Right? It's fast. I don't know how nutritious it is, but it'll fill you up, and it's 89 cents. Yet we do have all these burger places that are doing wonderfully as far as Steak and Shake and Five Guys and all the rest, right? That can charge you. Smash Mouth, and there was one that did the patty melts that was in Florida that was absolutely fantastic. I can't remember the name of the restaurant.
$12 for a hamburger.
They charge you $12 and $15 for a hamburger. Okay, they're not commoditizing themselves, and they are getting it exactly. Okay, so no, it does not have to affect your pricing.
Exactly. I'm getting something in here from Sharona. Great show, but the sound went. Did the sound go out again, everyone?
Well, I could hear you fine. There's a little wind that I'm picking up on, but I didn't lose any sound.
Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to get some wind now. I'm outside here. Mary or Rini, or if anybody else is still in there, let us know if you guys are hearing us or not. Oh, Mary can hear us both. Okay. I don't know what Sharona was referring to. It might have been referring way back when the sound got cut out. And I think I'm just gonna edit this and re-upload it. But anyway, you don't want to be a commodity.
No.
And the way, don't fight the trend, but create the value. Okay, so going back to my example of courses. For a while there, I was kind of freaking out. It's like Udemy just basically decimated our business. We're charging 250, 400, $500, $497 for a course, and you can get a course now for $12. But it goes back to the same concept that you've got to see, okay, where can I increase the perceived value?
Mm-hmm.
When you go take a course on Udemy, you might get great information, but your access is limited to the instructor. And so the people that are charging, and remember we mentioned earlier, people are charging $800 to learn to read tarot. And the folks, and yeah, that they might not have 100,000 people signing up for their course like somebody on Udemy that's charging $12 for a tarot course. But the reason why they're still able to sell and get $800 is because they're selling access to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the information. It's that they're going to be there live with you. They're going to work with you. They're going to do, even if their material is pre-recorded, they're going to have live Q&A sessions where you're going to be able to get your questions answered. You're paying for access, not for a course.
Udemy is really a sausage machine.
The course,
it's the lowest common denominator, just spitting it out.
Yeah, the courses on Udemy are commodities,
Mm-hmm.
whereas we're selling a higher end value resource. And so, yeah, going back to Mary's original question, sure, there's going to be some initial impact with these apps. Again, they're licensed therapists. Again, they're not aimed at tarot reading or tarot readers. Folks that are looking for tarot readings are not going on these apps because it's the same stigma. They still don't want to talk to a therapist. They want to talk to their friendly tarot reader.
And Mary, to put it in a different frame, there have been online reading services, and we've probably all worked for them. That's online tarot reading, works the same way, commoditizing the tarot reading from, Aranum and all the rest. And if you want to do that, there's nothing wrong with that. And they've been around for years, but you still have the standalone tarot reader that can get the $100 and $200, even though you have the tarot reading services that'll charge you $1.99 per minute. Right? So I don't think that if you can position yourself properly, it's really going to have that great of an effect. And Dax is...
What's that?
Oh, I was just wondering if we had lost you picture and sound.
Oh, no, I was typing in the chat, basically Vita joined us and I was saying hi, and I was saying, let Gary and I know if you have any more questions. We're actually way over here. I guess we should, we're having too much fun. We should just,
we had said we were going to go for 30 or 40 minutes.
30 or 40 minutes tops. Yeah. And here we are, an hour and a half later. But it's a lot of fun, and I was letting Vita know we're chatting about pricing. So if anybody has any suggestions on pricing, questions, we've had some great things here. Is it going to affect? Yeah, maybe some, but then again, what you got to do is, okay, how do I make my service a premium value service versus a commodity. It's that simple.
And that's a great idea for a workshop for a later date. How do you set yourself apart?
Right. I gotta take notes here. Setting yourself apart. We'll do a whole workshop on just that one angle of pricing your services, and then we'll do a general workshop on pricing your services, and basically do a lot of what we just did now. But a lot of our premium members and so forth are not going to hear this live, and so it's worth doing more formal and have it nicely recorded and available where people can find it in the list and click on it, in the list. Let's see. I've been seeing people have signs out in front of their business, $10. Yep. We were just saying, Tara Vita, how you're a commodity when you're charging $10, $20, $40, and again, she's talking about a sandwich sign in front of a business, Gary.
Yep.
And that's a different thing, because that's entertainment. You got someone walking down the street. They just came from Starbucks. They got their latte and they're walking down and they see this sandwich sign. Oh, I'm going to run in and get a quick reading. Here's $10.
I can't tell you how tempted I am to take $20 to go to the tarot reader on the corner with the flashing neon sign and sit down just to be entertained. Don't let them know I know anything about tarot. Just sit down and listen to the BS they're going to spew.
We even have them here in Tucson. I mean, they're real close to some of the areas I go to. I drive down the road, there's a sandwich sign, psychic readings, and I'm so tempted always to just go in and get, that kind of reading.
Yep. Just to hear them say, oh, your family is cursed for $500. I can remove the curse for you.
Right. And,
Yeah.
and Vita's asking, how can anybody do a reading that cheap? So again, it's in front of a business. So that business has multiple streams of income. They're selling products, they're selling other services, they're probably selling online. They probably have an Etsy store and an eBay store and
they also Tarot Vita are probably using that as a lost lead. They're using it to get you into the store, to either upsell you on a service, or so you will buy. If they're a store $20 and they're sitting there going, well, okay, your family is cursed. What you're going to need is this candle and that incense and this book. And before
Mary
you know
just said
that $20 reading has cost you $500 because you walked out of the store with all this chazarai that you need to remove the curse. That's how they do it.
Right. And then on top of that, hey, if 10 people walk in during an entire day and you make $100, $100.
Yep.
That's what? That's $500 a week. They're open 7 days a week. So that's, it's $700 a week.
Yeah.
$1,400, so $2,800 a month from a $10 reading, supplementing their shop and getting them other sales.
And if you're in an area with a high foot traffic, it could be even more than that.
Times Square, you got your sandwich sign, $10 readings. Come on in.
If you're in Times Square, if you're at a boardwalk, if you're in a town or a strip, a mall, you get all that foot traffic.
$10. I mean, it might pay all or a big portion of their monthly rent, and then they're making all their big money off of the products that they're selling, and it's total upsell, total loss leader. Come on in the store, kind of thing. But that's not what most of us do or should be doing. I mean, we should be honestly really trying to help people out, not just entertain them, and providing more value. And I'm sure those $10 readings they're not sitting there with you for an hour. They pull 3 cards. There you go. This is your future, And I need to get my Swami thing on. And
oh God.
Gosh.
Does it have a ruby in the middle of it?
Was it you that had one? No, it was one of our, oh God, who was it that used to have that hat? It was the the turban. He used to wear the turban.
Oh God.
It was a total joke thing that he did. He did it as a
Mhm.
joke, but he would come on to the shows when we had the video part of it, and he I think Title did that.
Oh God. That would be right up Title's alley too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So what are you saying, Tara? I want my mug Dax tarot picks. Now, I understood some of that, but I didn't get the whole thing, Vita. Like you had a mug, picture of a mug, and it said, I can't even remember, tarot picks. What does that mean? You want a mug with that text on it, or are you talking about you want mugs with tarot pictures on them from decks or something? This all came up in the Facebook group here about that, and I said, yeah, we used to have a bookstore, and I always wanted to add to it, and then Amazon took bookstores away, and we were going to build one, and we haven't done it yet, and I want to have other stuff in there, like mugs, hats, t-shirts, spread cloths, the whole shebangy. And you remember the old one of my favorite concept or favorite ideas for it is what was it called? It was the Got Milk campaign. The Got Milk ads, and I wanted to do the same white on black t-shirts with the question mark, got tarot, and on hats and everything else,
And Dax, I see another. You may want to write it down because I see another workshop there, which is how to multiply your revenue streams.
Yes,
right.
Multiple. Yes, additional revenue streams. That's a whole workshop. I got to write this down. Can't spell revenue streams, because there's a lot of different things folks could be doing, besides create your own deck, self-publish it. It doesn't have to be something fancy smancy that you're going to put, do through Schiffer necessarily. It can be, but instead of making $1 a deck, you create a deck, you self-publish it yourself. Because it's an artist deck that you created and self-publish, you can charge more now.
Yep.
So instead of $18, $15 to $18 for a deck that's being sold mass through Amazon, where Schiffer or US Games or whatever, Llewellyn, they're getting the majority of that because they're going to do all the work, supposedly. Actually, they're doing less and less, and we're having to promote more and more. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. You're making $1 off the deck, maybe $2, but instead you can get it self-published. You could do print on demand, for instance, game crafters. So figure out what the deck's going to cost, so much per sheet, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's going to cost me $20. I'm going to charge $40. So you're charging $40 a deck. You're making $20 a deck. That's a nice little side hustle. And then you write the book that you do put on Amazon, because you do want to get out to everybody. And, it doesn't have to be long. A lot of people make a decent amount of money off of a very inexpensive 120 page book, 50 page books, that people want that information, and they pay a few dollars, and you make a big chunk of that, but it's also being sold to billions of people on Amazon. Nice little side hustle. Create a workshop, and we will help you market it through the Tarot Guild. Now, when I say workshop, maybe that's the wrong thing. Maybe I should say webinar, or I should say course. Create something of value, like my course. And let's say you're going to charge $197 or $297 or something like that. Okay, so obviously this is not something we're going to put on Udemy for $12. All right, so you have to create massive value and be available. They're paying for access to you. And then what you do is you take an aspect of that $297 course or webinar that you're going to charge for, or maybe a shortened or Reader's Digest version or something. But you get it down to something where in a half hour to 40 minutes, you can come on and do a free workshop for our premium members. And you're going to talk about this topic that you're doing the course on, and it's a lead in. So we as the guild and our members get value because they're getting that free workshop from you, but you're able to use it as a platform to sell this course that you're marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And then because you're doing this through the guild, guess what? We're going to be promoting it everywhere. Facebook. I regularly post to 35 groups with anywhere from 10 to 100,000. A couple of them have 100,000 people on it. All of our groups and pages. We have 2 Twitter accounts, Instagram, LinkedIn, and of course our radio shows. And it's evergreen. It's going to be on the Tarot Guild site, all the time. And you can just send out links and have, so, and then we could do an interview that's public about it, have you come on, talk about your course. We could put it on YouTube. We could put it, strip out the audio, put it on our Blog Talk channel, which will go out to iTunes, Spreaker, Google Play, 50 different podcast outlets as well. So there's a lot to this where it's a huge benefit for you, and it's a additional stream of, could be really good income. You sell 10, 290, okay, $300, 10, $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely we'll do a whole, let's put our thinking caps on, and we'll ask the staff members to give us their best ideas for additional streams of income beyond seeing clients.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things you could be doing. And yeah, you could be selling merch. I say start your own YouTube channel. And a lot of folks with YouTube channels are selling merch through the channel. They're selling their own t-shirts and everything.
You're bleeding a little bit into some of the topics I will be touching on April 24th on the webinar or workshop, depending on how you want to call it, how a tarot readers can make a difference in this world and make money doing it.
Awesome.
And there's a whole section of that where we will share the secrets of how you can monetize in different ways, how you can use social media to drive and grow your audience and bring people in.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
So it is kismet, I guess, if that's the proper word to use, that we actually got off on this tangent of talking about how to price yourself, and that led us down a garden path on everything else. And this was not planned, but it is, I think, pertinent to what's going on today, and has been a great topic of conversation. Really, it has.
Yeah, we could just take this and put it onto the premium members group. Here's a workshop, but I do want to do, you got your workshop coming up, and I want to do the setting yourself apart, additional revenue streams, and one on pricing your services separately. The main reason is a lot of people, even if we put it in there, they're not going to see this. And what I want, and it won't be live for them at that point. I want people to have the opportunity to come to the workshops live and ask live questions. Because we are, even with 2 or 3 of us working on a workshop and or presenting, we're not going to think of everything to put out there, and your questions will, give us more that we can give you then. And so that's why I want to do those. I do want to use myself as an example. I see very little clients anymore. I have clients that I've had for forever that still, Dax, I need a reading. Are you available? and it's so informal because I've been doing it with them for so long. I mean, they'll come on Facebook Messenger and say, got time? I'm like, yep. I hit the button right there on Messenger, send them the fund request. They send the money. We start typing. We just do the whole reading in Messenger. This came up on something else a few days ago. And So I've got, I've got those, but because I went out, my original thing, we go back a few decades. I wanted to become a professional tarot reader. And I was attracted like everybody else. It's like, I want to predict the future for people, you know, and this is cool, even semi spooky, and I had seen what Live and Let Die, James
Oh
Bond,
God,
the
James
Death Card,
Seymour.
James Seymour, it's like I want to predict the future. Very quickly I found out that tarot is not really about that.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, that's cool too, because I've always, been the go-to counselor guy without the title, and so that's what I wanted to, that's all I wanted to do, Gary. I did not want to do any of this.
Mhm.
I just want to read tarot cards for people and do some life coaching. But I started looking into other streams of income. The whole concept of the guild came out of nowhere in San Diego when I was living there. We didn't expect that. We took it international and built the website. We started doing the radio shows. We started creating courses and teaching people and certifying people. And I do little side hustles like creating Facebook pages. God, I'm spitting here. Creating Facebook pages for people, websites. I've created websites for people. Go look up Cooch's Mystic Insights on, is it Mystic? Wait, Mystic. Mary will help me out here with this. On Facebook, Cooch's Facebook page. I put that together, and websites and all these other side hustles where that's all I have time to do now. I don't have time to do the readings. And so you never know where it's going to go.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are worried, especially, somebody, well, like Vita, and she sees that, how do they make money with the $10? I'm trying to put my shingle out too. Don't think of it that way. Think of it, you're going to follow Gary's advice and you're going to create more value, and you're going to charge what you're worth. You're not going to charge $20, $40 for a reading even. And then on top of that, additional streams of income.
Mhm.
You're going to look at other things you can do to supplement, and each individually, they're not like 100K, incomes. It's not a whole business in these little individual streams of income, but you'll be surprised how they add up, just these little amounts here and there. And when you put it all together and add it up over a year,
Mhm.
suddenly, wow, I cleared 75 grand, or I cleared
Mhm.
50, or I cleared 100, from everything together. And so I want people to start thinking that way, thinking as an entrepreneur. Most
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, even if they have a fantastic idea they come up with and create the thing, and they start off with that and they make a gazillion dollars on it, let's say, they never stop there.
Mhm.
There's hardly an entrepreneur that I can think of off the top of my head that does one thing and one thing only, and markets only one product or service. They all have multiple products and services. There is so much you can do. You can do guided meditations on individual tarot cards and create MP3s, or even full bang, whiz bang videos versions if you want, that you can sell to people. Um, Gosh, it's just endless what you can do. It's almost too much. You kind of have to like go, okay, don't overwhelm yourself with too many streams of income, but you want to have, what do you think, Gary? At least 3 or 4 good things.
I would say 3 to 5.
Three to five. Three to
3 to 5, because, and you got to look at it from this point of view as well. We all start out wanting to give tarot readings and want to sit down across the table from the sitter and get that personal connection and give the value. But eventually that becomes exhausting. So if you want to set yourself up with a quality of life where you don't have to be on that hamster wheel, then you do have to look into additional streams of revenue, whether that's an Etsy shop, as you said, whether that's a guided meditation that you said, or an online course that you're selling, because this is going to allow you to move beyond a schedule full of readings
Mhm.
and bring you in the same money, or potentially more, which will free up the time that you need, that you want to live the quality of life, to spend time with your family and your friends, and maybe take a vacation. Because the truth is, when you're an entrepreneur and you only have one stream of revenue, it's a 24/7, 365 gig.
Yeah.
Okay. You do not get a day off. But if you want to set yourself up, and that's the dream that they all sell, right? All these gurus that are out there, that we can give you all the money and all the time you want. In order to do that, then you have to have those other revenue streams that will allow you to step away from the day in, day out core of your business.
The other factor to piggyback on that is the ability to turn on a dime.
Yep.
So let's say you've got a really nice side hustle. One of those five is just blowing up, and you stop doing the other four and you just focus on that one thing. You're shooting yourself in the foot, because just like us with our courses, where we were making bank off those courses at, $4.97 a pop, it could dry up in a day and just gone, or the way in which you're, let's say, the way in which you're marketing and getting your clients. I don't want to say clients, because we're talking about these other streams of income. So your, what's the word for it, Gary? Your customers. Yeah. So the way in which you're getting them, let's say you're doing a whiz bang job on Facebook ads, but then Facebook tweaks the algorithm and boom, suddenly it dries up. If you have those other streams of income going, you can pivot back.
Yep. It reminds me of, and this is unrelated, but kind of related, right? If anyone was alive and around in the late 80s, early 90s, you remember Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh, good God. I loved him.
Love him or hate him, Andrew Dice Clay was one of the biggest comics.
It was a love-hate thing, yes. Yeah.
Now, what a lot of people don't realize about Andrew Dice Clay is the guy's name is actually Andrew Clay Silverstein. And he was a young and up-and-coming comic from Long Island, New York.
Right.
And the Dice Man was one of 8 characters he used to do in his act.
Wow, yeah.
But the Dice Man was the one that people kept coming back for. And so he said, these other 7 are not doing anything. I'm just going to dive into the Dice Man. And that's when his career took over. So having the ability to be flexible enough to see what is working and what is not working, and pivot to the thing that is working, and making that your core, even though it may not be what you truly wanted to do. That's the universe going, hey, dum-dum, it's over here. I know you think it's over here, but it's really over here. And being able to see that and move on that is an extremely important skill to have.
And that's, my story, really. And it's still morphing. I mean, my favorite thing to do these days is, okay, we have all the stuff we have going on, right? I love getting into Photoshop and making the banners for the shows and for the workshops and everything. I have more fun doing graphic art than I do everything else. I mean, when someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to spruce up my page on the Tarot Guild site, can you make me a banner? And they pay me, and I'm overjoyed. It's like, oh my God, I'm making money for doing something I really, really like doing. Not that I don't like seeing clients. I still do that, but I'd rather be helping the next generation, which is what you're doing as well, the next generation of readers become successful. So what do they need? Well, they need the business knowledge, which is, as our director of professional development, that's what we're getting from Gary, folks, you know. And then Gary also will also do this one-on-one with you. You can hire him. What I want to do for people is create the infrastructure. So what do people need? They need Facebook pages. They need Instagram. They need websites. They need banners. They need images. They need videos. I'm really good at doing all that kind of thing. You know, so I want to create the infrastructure for people, create their websites and so forth, and offer that, of course, to the Tarot Guild members at a nice discount, you know.
Yep. And that's really great because I suck at that, right? I can't draw a straight line with a ruler.
I think our two things overlap really nicely, and we can help a lot of people out.
Yep.
You know?
And that is really one of the benefits of joining the guild. Again, joining the guild as a premium member is just $12 a year. You get all the workshops, folks. You get the classes that are in there. You get to build the community. You get your own website with your own easy to need domain or easy to remember domain, which is a godsend in this world. And you will get discounts on the products and services that each individual member offers. Dax offers discounts on his service to develop the websites and the icons and the banners and this, that, and the other thing. I offer a very steep discount, a 50% discount to our premium members for my professional services and consulting services as the online marketing professional to help you get set up online and what you need to do to be successful there. And other of our staff members do the same thing. So joining the guild, and I don't mean this to sound like a commercial, but hey, it is.
It is.
Is really a great investment. Because if you think about it, to hire a consultant just to do your Facebook page, not Dax, but someone else. And I can tell you, I just had a buddy of mine who is a graphic artist that I've known for about 10 years now. And I love him to death, and he's incredible. He gives me a friends and family discount. And to create my banner for my online marketing business, Marketing Dolphins, he charged me, and this was a friends and family discount, $600. Okay. And that was the friends and family discount. So by going to the guild, you're getting all this free knowledge, the workshops, all the classes that are there. And you're also getting discounts on services that professionals need at a steeply discounted rate.
Yes.
It's, in my opinion, $12, no brainer.
If you're hearing my voice right now, please do not go out and spend anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 for a website. If you need a website, just send me a message.
And Dax, along that line, just to put the point out there, while you build websites, part of my business is also building sales funnels. All right. That's a special kind of website that is out of the scope of this conversation. A typical 4-page website, I can get $2,500 to $3,000 for, and I'm at the low end of the spectrum. Now, the premium members would get that at a discount, and it's that what we're talking about. Contact Dax for the website. Contact our other members for their services. It'll help you get off the ground, and it'll save you a little money too. It's a win-win situation.
Absolutely. I did want to mention real quickly that Rini Rose said in the comments, you two guys, yeah, the tarot guys, are
we got to do that. That's coming from last month. Okay.
I know we still have not done that, you know, and we got to talk about that. I need to get on a conference call with you. We got to work on all this stuff, from, you know, helping people with their businesses, you know, and all the infrastructure stuff, all the way to, you know, those tarot dudes. And but Rini Rose says, I love this. You two guys are a better lunch hour than Five Guys Burger and Fries.
I don't know. Five Guys fries are pretty damn good.
Thanks, Reedy. Oh, that was awesome. Oh, and we did have some comments because, you know, Vita came in a little late, and we covered a lot of this stuff. And Rini was kind enough to talk to Vita and say, you know, it's worth you going back and rewatching through all this. But just to hit like, let's see if we can hit really quickly on a couple of her things. One thing she said, okay, I don't know how much to charge. I'm reading from this here, trying to go back. I know and feel great worth. I am still a little shy because, okay, I've been reading for 50 years and can't say that to people. So I want, Vita, I want you to put in there, why can't you say that to people that you've been reading for 50 years? I mean, that should be on your shingle. But also, people love me in my readings. I just am charging hardly anything. I don't even know how much people charge other than the sandwich boards I've seen. And remember, she had talked about those $10 sandwich boards.
Yep.
So let's quickly go over that real quick. I just want to mention, my go-to methods. I can tell you right now, just from my knowledge of talking to tens of thousands of tarot readers over the last 18 years we've had the guild, when I started out, it was about $1 a minute. So you can roughly calculate, yeah, it was lowball. It was $30 for 30 minutes, $60 for 60 minutes. Now it's about $2 a minute. Now this is not the same as going through a reading service. On reading services, you'll see them charging $4.97 a minute, $9 a minute, but they're only doing 4-minute readings. Okay, so that's why and plus the service they're going through is taking a huge chunk. We're talking about private readings for private clients. Okay. If you're in, it's now more like $3 a minute. Okay. And people aren't doing the longer, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is, we mentioned earlier in the show, it doubles or triples every 12 years, I mean, and there's been like 3 cycles of that since I've been doing tarot. So, we're average $3 a minute, but we're talking about like 40 minutes, $120. That's just in general, like what's going on in the industry. A lot of people are still at the $2 a minute area. But many have moved on to the 3. I recently, I was selling my services really inexpensively because it was something I was doing for the Tarot Guild members. I always had it on sale. I always sold. Generally, I never liked doing the whole timing thing. So much per this minute, so much for this amount of minutes. I always like I'm doing a reading for you. My readings are $97. And I put them on sale for $67 because I was trying to help the Tarot Guild members that needed coaching more than anything else. Business coaching, using tarot and numerology. Now, that said, okay, I've recently changed mine up to where it really should be, $3 a minute. For a 20-minute session. To make it more affordable, I do $67, which is more than $3 per minute, but it's a shorter amount of time, so people can afford $67. For the average person, I can answer 2, 3, 4 of your questions in 20 minutes. That's a long time. It really is. Now, so there's a general ballpark thing for you, but really what you want to decide as you're looking at this, Vita, is this your full-time gig? Or is this do you want to make a living off this, or is this your side hustle? That will inform how much you're going to be charging. But we use the backtracking method, to calculate it out. We gave it earlier, where basically you need to figure out how much you need to make in a month, how many days per week you want to work. Let's say 5. So Monday through Friday, or Tuesday through Saturday, or whatever you do. Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know what it is. And then what you're going to do is figure out, how many of those days exist in next month, to use an example, maybe there's like 22 working days, let's say, out of the 31. And then you want to divide that into the amount you have to make to pay all your bills and have money left over. And that's good. And then you have to figure out how many clients you want to see on each of those days. 1, 2, 3. And then you divide by that. And that's going to give you a ballpark estimate of how much you should be charging.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember
And
any examples you want to throw out there, Gary?
Some of the examples that we use, just real quick, just for the numbers. And before I go in there, I also want to state that if you can add anything to your tarot read that's going to increase the value, for example, you may be a certified life coach, you may be a numerologist, you may be an astrologer. Anything that you could add, anything like what I like to say, the what's after the comma, is going to increase your value, which means you can charge more for that. Now, some of the examples that we used, and I always like to use the one because it's just simple math, is let's say you just wanted to make $10,000 in the month. Okay, using Dax's example, if you want to use $10,000 in a month, there are 22 days in a month. Let's just call it 20, just to keep the math simple. That means that you're doing every day, you would have to, if my math is right, do $500 a day, right? Working Monday through Friday. So if it's $500 a day and you want to see no more than 5 readers, 5 tarot, you want to charge $100 for a tarot reading, well, that means you're going to see 5 appointments a day. Right? And if you can set that, then you can get that. So it's always based on what you want. It's always best to start with the end and work backwards.
Yeah, and the other thing was about that was I had mentioned about burnout, and for me, I would divide it by 2. So 500 a day, I would charge 250 a client.
Mm-hmm.
That way I can spend more time with them and not get burnt out by seeing, 20 a week.
Another thing on burnout,
25 a
and
week.
this another thing on burnout, and you just mentioned this, so it reminded me of it, because so many people, and myself included, start their business, their entrepreneurial journey, whatever you want to call it, because of the coin. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's going to come a time where hopefully you got the money. So once you got that, what's going to keep you going? So to avoid burnout, you have to have the larger why. For Dax, that why is to help other tarot readers on the beginning of their journey. For me, my why is to set up a preservation for pit bulls. Right? It's just something larger than yourself that will keep you going when you're in the middle of things and you just want to chuck it. This is an important thing that you need to have, because if you're just doing it for money's sake, eventually you're going to get to the point where you're going to need something to push you through it.
That makes sense to me. Yeah. Oh, the other thing besides the burnout factor is by keeping it down to 1 or 2 clients a day, or however you have it figured out, because everybody works differently. That's as opposed to say 5 a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot less clients you have to book and find.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's another aspect of it.
Oh, yeah. And if you're doing 5 clients a day, really, between the 5 clients a day and the other work you're doing to market and promote yourself, that's a full-time plus gig. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. But that's why it's vitally important to understand the type of business you want to have. And to bring things full circle, that's one of the things that I will be talking about on April 24th in the workshop that I'll be giving, how tarot readers can make a difference in this world and make money doing it. We'll talk about how you can set the business up for yourself and what you want so you don't suffer that burnout.
Awesome. I'm just typing back to Vita. Yeah, I misunderstood what she was saying. She says that she has not read for.
Oh, she hasn't read for 50 years.
That's what she meant to say. Yeah.
Oh,
I just read it wrong. I
okay.
think
Well,
something like
Vita,
that.
let me ask you a question. Do you want to get back into reading? Is this where the desire is coming from?
And let's give her a minute to come back here. But let's see. And you never know what path these lives are going to go down. I mean, this turned out to be like really great information.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to listen to the lives, folks. Come join us for the lives and ask questions.
Yes, I only started a year ago. So you got back into it a year ago, if I'm understanding correctly.
I don't think that she got back into it. I think that she got into it, period.
So, well, okay. So here I'm confused because she just said, oh, so you've been interested in tarot since for 50 years, but you only started reading a year ago. Is that correct?
Something like that. Yeah.
This isn't what radio we call dead air.
Which doesn't matter on a live because we're
Which
just
doesn't, yes, because we're hanging out. They could look at our attractive looking mugs and be entertained.
But
If that is the case, Vita, the first thing that I would do is really get secure in your reading ability and your knowledge of the deck. And I'm from the school, and I may isolate a lot of people here, but this is just who I am. Tarot is a system, it's a structure. You need to know what each card and the symbol and the structure and everything means. A purely intuitive reading, that's not a tarot reading. That's an intuitive reading using a tarot deck. You're not reading tarot, and there's nothing wrong with that. But please understand the difference.
I wanted to mention, because she keeps going back to, being shy, and that has a lot to do with different factors like stage fright, speaking in general, even though you have just one client, and that it's still, you're on a stage pretty much, and then and that dovetails into confidence as a reader, and we actually have a workshop coming up on that eventually. We're so booked through this first quarter, but actually into the second quarter of the year. But building confidence as a professional tarot reader is something that was one of the first things I wrote down as one of the workshops that I want to do, because we can help a lot with that. And I'm not talking about what you see on the web. Folks like, building your confidence as a tarot reader, and they go through exercises, or they tell you, well, just practice, practice, practice. and that's their idea of building confidence. For me, and it goes back to that, why I brought up stage fright, because that's a real animal for some people, and so that is a phobia. And we have techniques for that. We have hypnosis and NLP techniques for that particular thing, you see. And so I'm not talking about doing a workshop where it's just, okay, you need to practice a lot more, and here's a couple ideas. I'm talking about, actual techniques that are going to help you. EFT tapping, hypnosis, NLP.
One of my favorites is the circle of power, the NLP.
Yes. That's big.
Example or practice of the circle of power. It's like a 3 or 5 minute visualization.
Yeah, one of my colleagues taught me a version of that called lensing. And what happens is, with the circle of power, you're taking it out of your pocket and putting it and stepping into the circle of power, which is great NLP technique. Now, lensing is similar, only you've heard of seeing through rose-colored glasses. So the difference is that you're always looking through this lens, and the lens you build up, you create in this almost the same fashion, Gary, that you create the circle of power. You're creating a lens that I am the world's greatest tarot reader, basically. And so you're looking through it as, and you put anything in there that you want. So you've got the confidence, you've got the you're gonna remember the terminology, you're gonna remember the cards, the meanings. It's all just comes right off the top of your head. And then you put in there, things along the lines of how many clients you're booking, and that you're world renowned. And, and so what happens is you are constantly looking through that lens at the world.
Yep.
So
And
that's just one of the techniques.
For the people who may be listening and are saying, oh, that's a bunch of malarkey. All right. Because there's a lot of cynicism around that. NLP is a wonderful thing. And a lot of it is based on the practice or the theory that the brain does not know what's truth or what's false. It only knows what you tell it. So as Dax was saying, if you choose to build up these rose-colored glasses and you just feed your brain the good stuff and you believe it as you're doing this exercise, then your brain is not going to know the difference, and it's going to respond in kind. And Dax is probably responding to someone on Facebook again. Dax, you need to get a second computer, dude.
Oh, well, it has nothing to do with the second computer. I'm still going to have to stop to do it. Because I can't walk and chew gum. So like if I'm typing a message to Vita in the comments, I can't talk at the same time. But also I had my mic muted, and I had to get done typing, and then I had to get over here to unlock the mic, because I have a lot of traffic going by. So I mute as much as I possibly can. So you guys don't have to listen to that. But what I was saying was, and with that, we need to get out of here because
we went a little longer than the 30 minutes we were going to, but hey, when you and I get together, we can talk for months.
And valuable information. So
it provided great value. Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to leave everybody with, don't forget to catch Gary's workshop coming up. And I believe it's April 24th.
Yep. I think 4 o'clock. I didn't confirm the time, but I believe
they've all been 4 o'clock Eastern lately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then my workshop hasn't been scheduled yet, but look out for that, because that's going to help a lot of people being able to go. Maybe you want to do that with me, Gary. Go through these techniques where we I would like to record a session that everybody can take with them.
Okay.
Have something already recorded that they can just download and they can play with their headset for confidence, a hypnosis guided visualization session. I'd like to do a couple of guided tours, guided visualizations through a couple of tarot cards as well. And we'll do all these NLP techniques live too. We'll do the lensing. We'll do the circle of power. We'll do some tapping. We'll get into all of that, and it's going to help folks out quite a bit.
Sounds good. We should hook up. Just find me this weekend online, and we can sit and talk and mastermind it.
All righty. Well, goodbye, everybody, for now, and we will see you. Let's see. I got to check the schedule here. I think we're not doing a live next Tuesday. Too many schedule conflicts, but I'm going to be back on the 15th with Sharona, and the 22nd with Mary, and then the 29th is open. So it might just be me, or Gary might join me, or someone's going to join me, maybe. I don't know. So that's it. All righty. Bye, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Bye, folks.